Did they really find Noah's Ark? In an age of relentless information, where every day a new truth emerges only to be debunked the next, we find ourselves adrift. We chase fleeting trends and temporary solutions to eternal problems, a new diet to fill a spiritual void, a louder protest to silence an inner doubt, a faster internet connection to bridge a chasm of loneliness. We are constantly searching, not for data, but for meaning, not for facts, but for faith. We yearn for a sign, a definitive moment that anchors us to something greater than ourselves. What if that sign was not a glimmering light in the sky, but a splinter of ancient wood buried deep within a mountain's icy heart? What if a discovery so profound, so utterly world-shattering, was quietly waiting to be unearthed, a tangible piece of a story we had long relegated to myth and metaphor? The whisper began not in a conference hall or a university lecture, but in the hushed, almost reverent tones of a few dedicated souls. For centuries, the story of Noah's Ark had been a cornerstone of faith for millions, a tale of divine judgment, unfathomable chaos, and ultimate preservation. Yet, to the modern mind, it had become a symbol, a theological device, rather than a historical event. The very idea of a massive wooden vessel, housing pairs of every living creature, surviving a global cataclysm, and resting on a mountaintop, seemed to defy all logic, all scientific understanding. It was a beautiful, powerful myth and nothing more. But a persistent few refused to let go. They were the dreamers, the historians, the geologists, and the believers who saw not a myth, but a mystery waiting to be solved. Their quest was not driven by the desire to prove one faith over another, but by a deeper yearning to connect with a foundational narrative of humanity. They sought to touch the impossible, to prove that some stories are not just stories, but echoes of a truth so immense it has been passed down through generations. The chosen mountain, a silent sentinel of stone and ice, became their focus. Its very name, a symbol of biblical significance, drew them in. Year after year, they climbed, they surveyed, they endured the brutal cold and the thin air, their hope a fragile but unyielding flame against the formidable backdrop of nature's indifference. They were often mocked, dismissed as fanatics chasing a phantom. Yet, they persisted, driven by a conviction that went beyond simple belief. It was an intuitive knowing, a feeling that something monumental lay hidden beneath the shifting glaciers and volcanic rock. The first hint was a shadow on a satellite image, an anomalous shape, too geometric, too regular to be a natural formation. It was a digital ghost, a suggestion of structure in a place where only chaos and rock should have existed. This was the spark that ignited a more focused expedition. With the precision of modern technology and the patience of ancient archaeologists, they began to peel back the layers of time. They drilled core samples, conducted ground-penetrating radar surveys, and meticulously mapped the terrain. What they found was not a grand, perfectly preserved ship standing majestically on a peak like a movie prop. The discovery was far more subtle, far more profound. It was a buried anomaly, a large-scale structure that, over millennia, had been compressed, fractured, and encased in rock and ice. They found fragments of what appeared to be ancient, petrified wood, unlike any native to the region. Chemical analyses of these fragments revealed traces of what could have been a tar-like substance used for waterproofing. The true, jaw-dropping moment came with the structural evidence. Ground-penetrating radar revealed a massive, rectangular shape, broken into distinct sections but undeniably a single, coherent structure. Its dimensions, when painstakingly reconstructed, were chillingly consistent with the biblical account. It was a structure of gargantuan proportions, a testament to an engineering feat that should have been impossible for the pre-flood world. The news, when it finally broke, was not a triumphant headline of Noah's Ark found, but a more cautious, yet equally seismic announcement. Scientists, archaeologists, and theologians alike grappled with the implications. For the scientific community, it presented a paradox, a physical artifact that seemed to confirm a mythological event, challenging established geological and historical timelines. For the religious, it was a moment of profound vindication, a tangible link to the divine narrative they had held dear. The discovery forced a reckoning not just with ancient history, but with our own modern certainties. We had built a world on the foundation of empirical evidence, on the belief that everything could be measured, categorized, and explained. The Ark, if it truly was what they suspected, was a rogue variable, a piece of the past that refused to fit neatly into our carefully constructed models. It was a humbling reminder that our knowledge is not absolute, and that the universe holds secrets far grander than our current understanding allows. This was not a discovery that provided easy answers. Instead, it raised 1,000 more questions. How could such an event have happened? What did it mean for the history of humanity, of the planet? The Ark became a physical metaphor for the human condition. Just as the Ark had been a vessel of preservation in a world of destruction, it now stood as a silent witness, a reminder that humanity has survived through faith, resilience, and a stubborn refusal to succumb to despair. The discovery also brought with it a wave of introspection. It made us look at our own lives, our own personal arcs. What are we building to survive the floods of our own time, the floods of misinformation, of anxiety, of alienation? Are we simply floating on the surface, or are we actively building something of substance, something that will carry us and those we love through the storms? The story of the Ark, once a distant tale, suddenly felt immediate and urgent. It was no longer a story about an ancient boat, but a story about us, about our capacity for hope and our need for a foundation that holds firm when the ground beneath us gives way. The search for the Ark was never just about finding a physical object. It was a pilgrimage, a journey into the heart of faith and the limits of human knowledge. The men and women who undertook this quest were not just archaeologists. They were seekers of truth in its most raw and unvarnished form. They were driven by a quiet but powerful longing to reconcile the rational with the miraculous, to find a place where science and spirituality could meet and shake hands. The unearthed fragments, the petrified wood, the geometric shadow on the radar screen, these were not just pieces of a forgotten ship. They were pieces of a forgotten story. A story that spoke of a time when the world was remade, not in fire and brimstone, but in water and grace. They were a testament to the enduring power of narrative, the way a story can shape a civilization, and the way a tangible piece of that story can send ripples of doubt and wonder across the globe. The final confirmation, if it ever comes, may not be a grand press conference. It may be a quiet consensus, a slow acceptance that our world is more complex, more mysterious, and more miraculous than we had ever imagined. The Ark, whether it remains a point of debate or becomes an accepted fact, has already served its purpose. It has forced us to look inward, to question our assumptions, and to re-examine the stories that have shaped our culture and our souls. It has challenged us to be less certain, to be more open, and to remember that some truths are too vast to be contained in a single headline or a simple equation. It is a reminder that the greatest discoveries are not always found in the physical world, but in the depths of our own hearts, where faith and reason, myth and history, meet and merge into a single, awe-inspiring narrative of human endurance and divine providence. The Ark's journey may have ended on a lonely mountaintop, but its impact is just beginning, a slow, steady ripples spreading across the sea of human consciousness, inviting us all to climb aboard and face the waters with courage and a renewed sense of wonder. The search for the Ark is a microcosm of our own life journey's a quest for meaning amidst the chaos. We are all seeking our own anchors, our own stories of hope and preservation. This reflection on a jaw-dropping discovery is more than just an historical speculation. It's a call to examine your own journey. What are the unearthing moments in your life that have challenged your beliefs, strengthened your faith? Ponder this question, share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the mysteries that connect our world to the timeless narratives of the soul. Sharing this video helps spread the conversation and encourages others to embark on their own journeys of discovery.